Hey everyone, I think we're recording now.
I don't know whether mine began to record or not because it said I needed your permission, but
Oh, whatever. We'll just go with mine and hope for the best. We'll leap with no net.
yeah, let's just keep leaping. This is fun.
I'm Jill Whalen here with Debra Simmons, and we're we're really leaping with no nets already today. We of course had some technical difficulties. We've got sounds coming in my windows. I'm gonna go close again. We've got people on mute. we just got a whole host of fun stuff happening today. I'm gonna close my other window. Hang on. I'll just be hot in here. Now where's it coming from?
This is hilarious. I'm just loving this.
Yes, this is what happens. See, never leap with no net. No, of course not. Anyway, that's what we're here to talk about. Leap and a net will appear. That's like one of my favorite expressions. It's in one of the songs that I sing for karaoke sometimes, and I always think it's a cool phrase. And it's something Debra has a lot of experience with lately too. So I invited her to have a chat with me, and you guys can participate. Well, we'll probably just talk a little bit, then maybe we'll open it up if anyone wants to comment or chat with us or whatever. What say you, Debra?
Yeah, I'm happy for people to comment and join in or whatever. Yeah, but we can, I mean, me and you, we speak regularly at the moment. We have some really, really fun chats every week. And we never have all of this, shut the windows, move up, do this. We just kind of relax and chat. And sometimes some amazing things come out of it. And a couple of times we've sort of said, oh my gosh, what a shame we haven't recorded this, to share it. So we decided that this time we had a fantastic chat about this whole subject about like leaping with no net and kind of just getting out there and doing things. So we said, why don't we open this up and see if anyone else has got any comments, see if anyone else has got any experience of this and what's showed up for them when they've done this sort of thing.
So why don't you? I know you're doing exactly that with a project you're working on right now. So why don't you just give us a little bit of that experience and just so we can get a flavor for how this leaping stuff works.
I hope it works.
or yeah, maybe.
So I decided I had an idea to do something called Dare to Be You. And it was an idea that kind of sat in my mind for a little while, and I kind of talked about it a little bit to some people, just playing around with the whole idea of Dare to Be You. Because my experience when I came across the principles that are behind all this that we're doing, my life changed beyond anything that I could possibly imagine. But what I noticed was that in some areas, it looked as if my thinking stopped me doing things. And the more I began to see that, the more I got this understanding and began to see that it was only my thinking stopping me doing things, the more things I just started to do and have fun with. And it wasn't always that the thinking didn't happen, but I just thought, well, if it's only thought, can I do it anyway? And so I did it in all sorts of areas. I would be frightened to make phone calls. I was frightened to drive places. I was frightened of all sorts of things. And my life just kind of started to open up. And then about 12 months ago, with two of my nieces, we decided to do a zip wire, the longest zip wire in England. It was in Wales, so we went off for the weekend, and that was something so far out of my comfort zone. It was ridiculous, and I was so proud of myself when I did it. And I kind of got bitten by the bug, really, about creating things and daring and stepping out of your normal, what you would do. And then this idea for Dare to Be You came to me, and I just thought I would absolutely love to create an event and get as many people as possible. I'm looking at maybe 500 people. I'd like to get 500 people into a room for 2 days to learn all about these principles and all about stepping out and daring to be you. And for me, the biggest dare of this is to actually, go out there and say, this is what I'm trying to do, because this could fail Massively. I'm taking a huge leap here, just kind of talking about this to people and sort of saying, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm making videos and putting it out there and asking for help and talking about it loads. And let's see if the net appears and my event happens. And
but so you've had things already like unfolding for you, right? That, you know, that you never would have expected had you, you know, really made a specific plans or whatever. Can you talk a little bit about that as well? Because that's really cool. I think that's how this stuff, you know, that's what's cool.
Yeah,
how this works.
That is definitely the magic behind it. That is just hugely magic, because I was having a conversation with somebody, and obviously a lot of people kind of chip in and sort of start giving marketing techniques and saying things like this, and, you know, it should happen like this and you must do that. And I actually had a conversation with someone about somebody suggested that I got sponsors or something, and I was like, oh, sponsors? I don't. And they said, well, you know, it can be very, very difficult to get people to sponsor you for this event. And then I was just having this random conversation with a lady who's a friend of mine, and she just said to me, I didn't say anything to her, and she just said, do you know what, I'd quite like to offer you some sponsorship for this. I was like, whoa, this is supposed to be hard, you know, you're supposed to work hard to get sponsorship, it's not supposed to happen like that. And it was just, so yeah, you know, I've had an amazing conversation with this lady, and hopefully something's going to come out of that. And then me and you, I mean, you live in America, I live in England. Me and you have been connected and been talking for a while, and then you decided you came to England for the conference, the Three Principles Conference in London, and you decided to come down to Devon and visit me. And while you were here, you kind of said, well, I could look at doing a website for you for Dare to Be You. So you just kind of stepped in and did that for me, and that kind of was another thing that just, it was just the biggest, you know, why were you there at that moment?
and they also just happened to have a conference website theme that I had already purchased for another conference that was sitting on in my Google Drive, and I upload for you, and it was like just so random, like that it happened that way.
Yeah, very much. Yeah, very much so. And it kind of, you know, I'm just sort of, I'm not really massively planning forward. I haven't got a huge marketing strategy. I'm just absolutely just letting this unfold out of pure curiosity to see what happens when you kind of, it's not that I'm not doing stuff, I'm doing loads. I mean, here I am, you know, talking to you, and every opportunity I talk to people, I share. I love talking, I love sharing. So it's not that I'm ever going to be quiet about this, but
but that's the thing, right? That's what you and I have been talking about and calling passion power, because when you're so excited about something that you want to do, something creative or whatever, that something that you're inspired about, like you get this energy that we're calling passion power, that like you can't help but work on it, right? I mean, is that how you feel? You wake up in the morning and you're just like, what am I going to do today?
Oh, very much. I mean, I loved it when you when you were here, you talked about passion power, and that really hit home. You know, that really that inspired something in me when you said that. It was like, this is definitely what this is all about for me. The whole, ever since I came across the principles, and my life changed so much, and then it kind of spread out. I talked about my two nieces earlier, and the just being able to share this with them has changed their lives, and they've kind of, it's changing other people. It's the ripples that are going out from this, and I was so excited by that, and to see how the effect that it's had on my children and my relationship, and you know, those ripples just keep going out. And then when I came up with this idea, the idea just wouldn't go out of my head, and it was like, yeah, and definitely it's being powered by a passion. And what I absolutely love about the understanding is I've been able to just step into a place of, let's just do this for the pure fun of it and see what comes out of it.
Yeah. And like, that's what I do. I mean, that's what I've done my whole life. And you know, I had a whole business for 17 years that was run on passion power. And you know, I didn't set out to create a business. I set out to be a mom at home. You know, that's all I ever wanted to be. And then, you know, we happened happened to get a computer at some point. We happened to get a modem. You know, all these things went in. I had saved a little thing from the paper in case we ever got a modem. Modems, you know, you didn't have modems in the 90s, but I saved this thing so I could get online. And, you know, my whole business got created by me just playing around on the computer all the time. But I just loved it. Like every day I'd wake up, what am I going to learn today? And then I learned stuff, and I helped people and shared with people, and then people started wanting to pay me money, and then I was speaking at conferences all over the world, and me, little mom at home, playing on my computer all day, getting to do all this stuff because I just had the passion. Like it was my passion. I was so, I mean, I guess it was an addiction to a certain extent too, but it was a passion. And like, that's like, you can't plan. You can plan, I guess. I didn't have goals to do any of this stuff. But I just went with that, what I love to do. You know, to me, I was always like, as long as it's fun, I'm going to keep doing it. And as soon as it's not fun anymore, I won't. And, you know, that's kind of what happened. I was just like, I think I'm done with this stuff. I still liked it. And it wasn't that it even wasn't fun, but I just felt, again, it was through inspiration that I was inspired. And it's, you know, that's what I try to tell people. There's so many people out there who have these inspired ideas, and they're just like, they get overwhelmed. Like they overthink it, you know, instead of just do it, baby steps, just do it.
Yeah.
And they don't do it.
And I think that's what it's about. You know, if you kind of said to me, how are you actually going to do this? How is this going to work? If I'd have had to sit down and put a plan into place and kind of do things, I'm not sure that I can. I'm not sure that I can say that, but it looks like things. I've had some really interesting conversations with people, and I've been invited to talk to a group on Saturday, so I'm going to talk a little bit about it and share it there, and I'm sure, you know, it will just keep spreading, keep going out there. And exactly like you say, I'm just having such fun with it. It feels really exciting, because one of the other things that I have decided to do around this, because of last year when we did the zip wire, it was brilliant doing that. You know, it was so far out of anything that I would have ever done, but it was just brilliant. I really, really enjoyed it. And a few people had talked about doing a parachute jump, and I'd always said, no, that is too far. That's a step too far for me. I will never, ever do a parachute jump. And then kind of along with the Dare to Be You idea, it came like, wow, let's just do a parachute jump. You know, a skydive. Let's just jump out of an airplane.
And that's crazy.
It's totally crazy. It is crazy. But
right. So tell me, like, I think we talked about this, you and I, when I was over there, but because I asked you, like, you know, it seems to me when you talk about Dare to Be You, like, I thought, well, that's, you know, that's not you, you know, like, it sounds to me like maybe you're trying to be something that you're not, but you explained that to me, what you meant about that. Do you remember, or can you talk about that?
I will do my best. I can't remember what I said that day,
no,
but I do remember. Yeah, and that was a great question, actually. But I think, along with this understanding, what I saw in my life was all the places that I had been held back, all the things that I didn't do that I wanted to do that looked like fun, all the times when, you know, I'd had the thought to do something, and then the next thought was, you're not good enough, you're not pretty enough, your hair's not right, people will laugh at you, whatever it is, all these thoughts that would come into my head. And there were so many things that I just didn't do. And as I began to understand this, one of the first things that I did was actually go on the London Eye with my daughter. And that was a huge thing for me. And you know, it was just getting out there and not letting my mind stop me doing things that I want to do. And it's absolutely not about doing things that you don't want to do. And as far as the parachute jump goes, I know when we did the zip wire, there's an amazing video out on YouTube at the moment, Will Smith talking about, as he jumped, he was actually talking about doing a skydive, and he's talking about that just the other side of our greatest fear is our most amazing moments. And he talks about when he jumps out the plane and, you know, going from literally terror to this amazing, beautiful feeling. And I have had that so many times when I've just, you know, the first time that I drove to Coventry, I live in Devon and Coventry is about, 3.5 hours away. And I was terrified of driving when I was in a bad place before I understood the principles. And the first time that I drove to Coventry, I could absolutely see that as I understood and could go through that fear, there was something amazing on the other side of it, absolutely amazing. And I'd just been kept small by all this fear. And when we did the zip wire, the amazing feeling when you just kind of, when they let you go and you go down, it's just, time stands still, and everything, there's all this noise going on in your head and all this stuff and everything going on, you know, and it's all terror and fear and da-da-da-da-da-da. Then you've gone and it's just peace. It's just beautiful. It's just the calm. It's just, I don't know, there's something amazing. And I'm just really, really, really curious, is that the same with the skydive? So I kind of thought it is something that I want to do, and I really, really love, for me personally, very much part of me is doing those kind of things that absolutely terrify me. I'm kind of like, that's what I want to do. And equally, if that isn't your thing and isn't what you want to do, then please don't do it. It's not about a skydive.
Right, and you are talking about for other people, because well, when you guys do the skydive, you want other people to dare to do some of their own things, but it could be simple things like you say, like just driving somewhere that they're afraid to drive, or even easier, just even if somebody was agoraphobic, just going out of their house, or it could be anything.
Yeah, talking to a friend sometimes, you know, one of my things was I was absolutely terrified of making phone calls. And, you know, I knew that I
still am.
Oh, so maybe you can make a phone call on Dare to Be You Day then. This is it, you know, and so it's okay. And it's not, we do get scared of things, and it's perfectly okay. But I think I absolutely love testing myself with these things. It is definitely, that is part of my passion for this. The understanding of the principles is very much, well, can you do this then? Can you do this? And it's totally all right. When we did the zip wire, and equally, I've said exactly the same thing with the skydive. I'm perfectly okay if I do it or if I don't. I want to do it, and I've kind of, you know, I've put it out there, and I'm definitely going to turn up on the day. But I'm totally cool. I totally and utterly see, and this is what my understanding of the principles gives me, I totally see that whether I do it or not, it doesn't mean anything about me. And I think in the past, and that's one of the reasons why I can talk like this, and I can come and I can say about Dare to Be You Day and the event that we're going to have, and what I'm trying to, you know, what I would absolutely love to create. Because if it doesn't work, I totally know that it doesn't mean anything about me. Or if it doesn't turn out the way that I see it in this moment, that's fine. I'm happy if this changes as it moves forward. And I'm happy for it not to reflect, you know, all those things that come into my mind that, oh, well, that means you're stupid, or that means you're, you know, not good enough, or that means you shouldn't have done this, or all of those kind of things are just, I really see through that in my own mind now, really see through that. And it's not to say that it never ever comes into my mind, but it's interesting to me when it comes into my mind. And my understanding has kind of given me a place where I just see through that kind of thinking.
Yeah, and I think that's the same for you know, anything that we want to do, that, you know, not a big event, but anything that we're inspired to do, you know, whether it's start your business, write a book. I mean, when I wrote for writing my book, it's something that was on my mind for a long time that I wanted to do, and it's not like I was scared to do it or anything like that. I just, you know, kept putting it off, and then, you know, and then I got inspired. I heard Mary Schiller do a webinar about how she writes her books. And I was like, yeah, what am I waiting for? And and I mean, the book just freaking wrote itself. Like, I did not write this book. I worked on it here and there when I felt like it. I mean, I had content already from my blog on Mary's suggestion in the webinar. I thought, oh yeah, I have all this content. So I kind of like one day just kind of put that all in a folder, and then, online, and then another day, wrote some stuff, or for a couple hours. But it was never, I didn't have a timetable. I had nothing on it, like you say. And however long it took me to do was however long it took me to do. But it just was amazing to me when it came together the way it did. And the finished product now is like, I don't even remember writing it. Like, I've heard other people say when they're going to write a book, oh, well, I need, 3 years to write this book. And I'm like, really? Like, just write it. Like, what? And that's fine if it takes you 3 years. But, I don't know. I just don't see things if it's something I want to do, I don't see it as a project or a big thing. Because if I did, I would be overwhelmed. I'm not, I hated like projects in school. Like, if they told me we had to do this big project, I could not do it. I would just be overwhelmed. But, wouldn't it have been cool had they taught us about baby steps and, and not being overwhelmed, like not thinking about the end product? Because if I think about that, those kinds of things used to overwhelm me. Probably wouldn't as much now, because I don't know. I guess, I just don't let it, because I know I just have to do baby steps. But that's the thing for everybody to remember when they're doing any project or creative endeavor or whatever it is they want to do.
Yeah, it's lovely to just kind of, I think we have these lovely ideas. They seem exciting. They seem like fun. And then we suddenly decide that they need to be something serious that we get down to and work on and do. And it's very much, the passion power is about keeping that fun, because everything that I have done towards this has just been fun. I've had conversations with people. I've started a Facebook group. I put some stuff out there. So it's not like you say with your book, it's not like you don't do anything. And all of those, even all of those things you'd written them, there was some time and some effort had gone into them. But it is, to me, I love living my life like just from a place of, let's just do the next thing. Let's just do the next thing, the fun thing. And sometimes I feel really guilty when other people are kind of going out and they're saying they're going out to work and everything. And I'm thinking, yeah, I'm just going to have really great fun today. I'm going to have some amazing conversations with some lovely people. And it's even, it took me a while to get there, but I can pay my bills by doing that now. Almost, nearly. No, I can. And it's just, it's such fun, just kind of letting go of that. I had this whole thing set up that if something was work, it had to be hard, and it had to be, you had to sweat over it, and it had to be difficult. And it's not like I don't do stuff. I show up in places, if I make appointments, I get there. If I say I'm going to do something to the best of my ability, I do it. And I run retreats, and I there's food to sort out, and there's, accommodation, and I book places. It's not like you don't do anything, but I think when you're doing it from this place of something you love, and it is, I just absolutely loved it when you said to me passion power, because that's exactly what it feels like. It just feels like you're passionate about something, you just have fun doing it. And even the bits that you don't maybe love as much, just kind of, they happen as well.
Right. You don't care as much, because it's everything, there's 90% or 80% is fun. And so, a little bit of uncomfortableness, whatever, you don't care as much. But that, that the word work is interesting, because it has such connotations for people. And I think, in my old business, I always just said, I just play on the computer all day. I mean, that's what I used to kind of say. That's what I always thought. And that's what my kids would tell people, if, what does your mom do? She just plays on the computer all day. and yeah, that was good. But I was making 6 figures doing it, but I was playing on that, literally how I felt. And it's, I don't know. I just think it's possible for everybody. And, people will say, oh, well, you had it easy, or but I don't know. I really feel like if you're if you're doing stuff that you love and you have that passion, and you keep that passion, you can do it. And sure, a lot of the work I had to do was not fun. The invoicing and the taxes and all that crap wasn't fun. but again, that was 20%. 80% was fun, and the rest wasn't. And it's the same, like moving forward with what I do now. I just do it. Like you said, you wake up in the morning and it's like, what fun thing do I get to do today? Let's see if anybody, I don't know if anyone wants to jump in here, raise your hands or on the thingy or just unmute yourself if you want to, and feel free to participate with us. I'll just take a look here. Anybody? We have a few people.
We have got some people.
Anyone? No? Well, okay. If you want to just, oh wait, I see Pam. Let me unmute. Oh, she's on. You're on.
Can you hear me?
Hi, Pam.
Can you hear me?
We can.
Hi, Pam.
Okay, good. No, I just kind of wanted to jump in because everything you're saying, I feel like, oh my God, that's the opposite of me. I've never been real passionate about things. I've never known what I wanted to do. I've never, if I want to do something, then I immediately freeze up. If the more I want something, the more paralyzed I am to do anything about it. And I mean, the 3 principles is helping me. I mean, this is what's been in my head recently a lot. This is what I've been thinking about a lot lately. And I'm starting to see it. And some of the things that Debra was saying really clicked with me, like just being curious, just trying it just to see what happens and not worrying about the outcome. And things like that. I know that's what I need to do. And everything to me, if it's something I want to do, it's a big project. In my mind, it's a big project and it's overwhelming. So everything you guys have been saying has just been like landing with me. And I'm like, okay, see, this is totally the conversation I need.
Oh, that's awesome. Brilliant. Thank you. And I mean, curiosity is definitely kind of, that has been my passion about this, is kind of, I'm curious about it. And even the thoughts that come into my head, I'm kind of, if I have, from the most simple thoughts, like the last few days in England, it's been really, really hot, like hotter than England ever is. Everybody always thinks England is usually freezing cold and raining, and it's literally, you probably see, I've caught this, it's been really hot. Sorry?
I'm from England, so I know. But I'm now living in California, and it's currently about 108 degrees, I think, today. So
it's probably like that here, It's not usually like this. And so for the last couple of nights, like, I haven't been sleeping very well because it's been really, really hot. So then the thought comes into my mind, oh, you're going to be grouchy today, you haven't had enough sleep, this kind of thing. And then I'm curious. I'm like, well, is that just thought created, and have I had the perfect amount of sleep? Have I just had exactly the amount of sleep that I need? And it just looks to me, when I kind of play with that, then I don't feel tired at all during the day. And sometimes I do, but it's always, I like to play with it. Everything that looks as if there was so many things in my life that just looked fixed. You were this you weren't a very good mom. You can't do this. This is outside of something that you can do. You will never have this. And it's not, I don't know what I will have and what I will do, but I love playing with it. It's just like, it absolutely feels like plasticine. It's kind of like any thought that comes into my head that just looks like a done deal, I'm kind of like, is it?
That's exactly what I've been thinking about lately. And it's funny you should bring up sleep, because that was a huge one for me. I've got to have at least my 8 hours. I've got to do this. I'm going to be tired all day if I don't. If I wake up in the middle of the night, oh my God, that's going to ruin everything. And it's really funny because I've been thinking about this so much lately. And I wake up sometimes early in the morning, and I've been getting hot flashes, so I wake up a lot during the night, and then I go back to sleep usually. So when I wake up early in the morning, I'm like, okay, does that mean I'm awake and I'm ready to get up, or am I just having a hot flash and I need to go back to sleep and get some more sleep? And there's this whole thing: have I had enough sleep yet? Do I need more sleep? Am I going to be tired all day if I get up? And the other day I woke up at 2:30 in the morning and my head started going and I started thinking about stuff. And I love to write. And when I get insights, I love to write about them because the more I write, the more insights come up, and it's just, I love it. So at 2:30 in the morning, I woke up and I started thinking, and I had this insight, and I was just thinking, and I thought, you know what? Why don't I just get up and write about it? And normally I wouldn't dream of doing that because I'd be thinking, oh no, I can't do that. I'll be too tired tomorrow. I've got things to do. I got to go places. And I just did it. I just got up at 2:30 and I wrote until like 5:30 and had my breakfast, had a shower, went to work. And oh my God, it was the best morning ever. It was wonderful. And I was fine all day. I wasn't tired at all. There were times during the day when I'd start to feel a little tired. I mean, we all do that. We all have those ups and downs through the day. Yeah. And normally I would be like, oh my God, that's because I didn't sleep. Now I'm going to be tired. I'm going to crash now. But instead of doing that, I'm like, no, wait a minute. Is that really true? Am I really tired or am I okay? And I would be okay. It was amazing.
So this is not the opposite of you.
Well, it used to be, but I'm just learning. This is what I'm learning right now. This is where I'm at.
But so you can drop that story that because you said right. I don't know what I like, but you just said you love writing. So you do
okay.
know. So
okay.
That's it. It's so much as our identity that we believe I'm this kind of person. I'm not this kind of person. And that's really what Debra's Dare to Be You is sort of about as well. You can be any person you want to be, really.
You can be a million different people in a day.
Yeah.
And that brings up what you were saying about the writing. I love to write, but I don't publish anything. I want to. I'm like, okay, I want to write a book. I want to do a blog. I want to do this. But that going from just writing purely for myself and not caring what it comes out like and nobody's ever going to read it to, okay, if I got to write it to publish, then it's got to be good. It's got to be this. It's got to be that. And suddenly I can't do it. Okay, it's not. You know what I mean? And that's where I get stuck. And I just.
So why do you? What's stopping you? What So what if other people are going to read it? That's just.
Logically, I can ask myself that and say, hey, I don't care, but I still don't do it.
Just do it then.
And I know that is very much what I noticed about me. There was just so many things that I just didn't do. I knew I wanted to do them and I didn't do them. And Dare to Be You very much is kind of, and what I noticed was understanding my mind helped to a point, and then there would be certain things that I just had thinking about, and I'd be like, I really want to do that. And then I just kind of, to myself, part of this experiment, part of this playing with it was, what happens if you do? And then I would do, I've made some videos and I had oh my gosh, I had so much thinking about making a video and putting it out online. And I kind of made this first video and I'm sort of like this, just pressing the button, like this, and it's gone. And oh my gosh, now I've got to run and hide for 10 minutes in case somebody's seen this video. But it just looks like, again, whether it is a skydive, whether it's pressing, the button to publish something, whether it is, putting some writing out there. What I have seen is there are always going to be people who love you and what you do. And there are always going to be people who don't. And whether you do it and put it out there, that is just going to be true. And you can't. One of my massive things was I was the queen of people pleasing. And I think that is definitely something that stops us doing things, because it's, we've got to please everybody. If I'm going to put a video out there, everybody in the whole wide world has got to like it. I've got to say, and this is kind of, I've got to make sure I say this, and then I've got to make sure I say it like this, and then I've got to, and we close ourselves down. We close that creativity down because it's impossible. We can't please everybody. Very much about the Dare to Be You is, I have noticed when I have stepped into being me and doing what pleases me, in that is what had the biggest and most profound changes for my children and my family. And when I could just be me, if something made sense to me, to have the courage not to think, no, I'm not going to do this because this person might not like it, or I have to do it right for this person, or I've got to change it because they might not approve. What I noticed was when I started approving of me and I started just being, this is how I see it, this is how it is for me, then the impact that it had on the people around me was just brilliant. It was the people that I loved the most benefited the most when I just dared to be, when I dared to connect to my heart and do what looked right for me. And it's impossible, you know, anything, if you write something, if you do get out there, if you do this and, you know, and you do decide that you're going to do this, there's definitely going to be at some point somebody who's like, well, that's rubbish. And that's perfect.
You know, that doesn't even scare me. The thought of that is like, nah, whatever. So I don't even know what it is that's stopping me. I don't know. You know, I get that some people aren't going to like it. I don't care. I don't even know what it is that stops me.
Is it just some identity that's, you know, telling you you're not good enough to write, or
I think it is. I think it's just I don't see myself as that person because, you know, I love to write, but I just write, and I can spend literally the entire day writing. I can write for hours and hours and hours. I can write thousands and thousands of words, but it's nothing that anybody would want to read because seriously, who's going to sit down and read that? It's so the idea of, okay, writing for publication is just a whole different thing. It's a completely different, there's a structure. There's got to be a birth, you know, there's got to be a beginning and an end. And you know what I mean? And it's like, okay, I don't know how to do that. So I can't do that. You know, it's not okay, this is my passion. That's something I have to learn how to do.
Do you see that as all made up, especially today
absolutely.
with blogs and stuff? Like, yeah. I mean, anyone can publish anything, and there's plenty of not so good stuff out there.
Right.
And totally with kind of like doing this event, I have no idea how you put on an event and get 500 people in the room. Not the first clue. And, you know, how do you market that? Who do you talk to about it? What do you do? I haven't got a clue. So I put into Google, event, what did I put, because I wanted to find a venue for the event. So I just thought, well, if I'm going to do this, I'll need a venue. So I just put venues in, and then I had no idea, what do you do then? So I kind of messaged these people and sort of said, I'm looking for a venue, and they messaged, and I thought, they're talking back to me as if I'm some kind of, you know, this is me, I'm in my kitchen here, you know, I'm kind of just, I'm not this kind of big business sort of person who knows anything about how to hire a venue or how to do this. And it just got really fun. I'm doing these emails back, and I'm, you know, they're kind of talking to me as if I'm this person. Exactly. I have no clue.
I love that.
And that's the fun of it. Like, that was me. I was speaking at conferences around the world, and you know, I come home and I'm Timmy's mother. You know, it's like, it's not like it's just such a joke. All these people like, oh, Jill Whalen, you're somebody, blah blah blah. You know, okay, if you want to believe that, but it doesn't. Like, you can just be like, it's just interesting. Everybody's perception is going to be different.
And I think we all have that perception that people that do these things are different to us. I think that was me, you know, and it was really great when you came here and I actually met you and we kind of had these chats and everything. And I'm kind of thinking, well, you're no different to me. And you were really, when we were talking about this event and you were talking about helping me do the website and everything, when I kind of was saying things like, oh gosh, you know, I don't know, you're like that, yeah, just do it, just have a bit of fun and do it, it'll be cool. And it's like, and you're like, that's all I did ever to get this whole business up, I just did it. And I was like, oh, okay. And I'd made it into this huge scary thing.
And you were talking about how you had somebody else working with you who was saying, oh, there's not enough time, you know, we can't, October, or is that when you're doing it? You're like, there's not enough time to do it in October. And I'm like, are you kidding me? You could do it like in June. And you're like, really?
Yeah, and it's been fun. So what I've done so far has just been fun, and it's like, take the next small step and see what happens, because, you know, this whole thing, jump and a net will appear. It just looks to me, one of the things, I did retreats with, I had a partner that I did retreats with for a little while, and a few people were kind of saying to me, do retreats on your own, because I was talking about the principles, and then there was a lovely man with me, and he was talking about something completely different. And it was just beginning to get a little bit confusing. And people were kind of saying to me, do this retreat on your own. And that to me was one of these huge leaps. I absolutely shut my eyes and sent the email to book the retreat centre. You know, money I hadn't got, I booked a retreat centre, and I'm kind of going, oh, please, people, book on my retreat. And it just worked. It was just, that was definitely a leap, and then just wait for the net to appear. And I think in life, that's kind of what we do, that whether we know that's what we're doing or not, and we do it, and then we put all this fear and everything in. I've really noticed with me, with all this that I'm doing, sometimes a lot of anxiety and fear will kind of start to come in, and then I'll think, well, you can either have that or not. You're just going to do this, and that bit looks optional. So do you want to go down that road, or do you just want to keep doing this and enjoying it, and what will happen will happen?
Right, because you can do it with fear in the background, or you can do it without fear in the background. Yeah. Like either way, and even if it doesn't work, like that's the thing too. Like you just don't know. You know, either way, you're going to be okay. Like totally. Any of this stuff, and that's the beauty of not having expectations. You know, if you totally had these expectations, we're going to have 500 people, you know, or it's going to be a failure, or you know, then you put so much pressure on yourself that way, and or even writing a blog. Like if you can't write it if nobody will read it. Like, I mean, when you first start writing a blog, it's tough because you're like, I'm just talking to myself, nobody's going to read it. And you know, you start to be like, it's hard to keep going, but you know, it builds up over time. It you know, it can, and you have to be okay even if nobody ever reads it. You know, it is what it is.
It is the unconditionalness of doing something. I mean, when Pam just spoke a minute ago, and she kind of said, you know, she can totally enjoy writing until it is for a reason, or it's for this, or there's something, you know, we put conditions on it then. As soon as it is for something, we wham all these conditions onto it, you know, and it's like, if I put a load of conditions on this, that it has to be this and it has to be this. I've kind of outlined what I would absolutely, passionately love it to be. And I'm going to put it out there, and that's what I'm taking steps towards, and then completely let go of it having to be that. And I noticed, like, when you were here, you came, I do talks at the local library, and I noticed for a while I was doing some talks. You know, when I first started, I was doing some talks, and people would say that they would come to these talks, and then for various reasons, people couldn't come at different times. And I just got really annoyed, because it was like, I'm doing these talks, you're supposed to come. You know, that's the agreement. That's how this works. And when I kind of saw myself doing that and caught myself and kind of thought, actually, do you want to do these talks? Because if you do, just do them. And then if people come, brilliant. And if people don't come, brilliant. And that changed the whole game for me. It was just like, yeah, I know I want to do this, and I'm just going to do this. And if I sit in a room and talk to myself, hey, I'm cool with that. And trust me, I can probably do that. But it was, you know, I took, thanks, Beth, I saw you nodding there. I took those conditions off the table. And I think with the parachute, you know, the skydive, it's like, I know I want to do this, but if I do it, it's fine. If I don't do it, it's fine. If it doesn't turn out to be what I thought it was going to be, then that's cool. And this whole thing is, this is what I want to do. And if it doesn't turn out to be that, that's fine too. Absolutely fine. But I'm going to do this because I really want to. So it's kind of taking those conditions. We with thought makes up all these things that it's got to be the outcomes, and this has got to happen. And connections are a huge one. We connect so many things that are just not connected. If I've stood up and said, I want 500 people in the room and I only get 50 people, what is that going to, you know, I've connected that to mean things about me. I've made it mean this. I've connected it with my well-being. I've connected it, blah, 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 blah. We connect. And I think when we start to disconnect that stuff, then we free ourselves up.
Nice. Does anyone else have any questions or anything to add to the conversation? Put it in gallery here for a sec. Anyone? Oh, wait, we got Joe. Go
Hello.
for it, Joe.
I'm just over the border in Cornwall, Deborah.
Oh, hi, Joe.
You're right. It's just interesting you chatting about your event and retreats and stuff like that. So I really want to share this amongst parents, and that's really where I've seen the biggest difference in my life. So, and you talk about retreats, I'm thinking, what a brilliant idea to get parents onto a 3P retreat sort of thing. But what do I know about talking about the 3 principles and da-da-da. But I just thought, I'm just going to have fun. I'm just going to play with it. So I found a venue, and the whole idea was to be connected and get back to nature and foraging and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, just putting myself out there, just getting costs in and do all that sort of thing, and see where it goes. I've got nothing on it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But
Brilliant. And
yeah.
that is brilliant. I love that. And one of the things that I want to do with the Dare to Be You thing is some kind of like collaboration, because I think if, you know, I didn't know of Joe Smith just down the road from me, and it would be really great to have a conversation with you, because I just think
sure.
it looks to me like there's more than enough people that we can share this with, and you know, getting together and doing things and helping each other and talking, and you know, you sharing what you're doing, and very much with the Dare to Be You in the room. What I would like to do when I do the 2-day event is I would really like to connect, if there are people there that can help people, you know, if somebody knows about this and somebody knows about this, why don't we share? One of the things I know in one of the conversations that I had with Jill before was, she said, like, she was a marketer, you know, when she did her computer stuff, she did marketing, and they said all marketers just share all their stuff, you know. And I think sometimes some of us in the principals community can get a little bit scared about sharing, and a little bit, we hide a little bit. And it's kind of like, let's do this together. Let's find a way to kind of share as much as we can, because I'm sure there's people who, you know, don't connect with me so much but would connect with you, and equally it doesn't look to me, there's plenty of people out there who would really benefit from this. I don't think we're going to be short of people to share with, and I think the more that we can share and share and share, the more impact we can have. And definitely, I mean, I totally resonate with you when you say about the parenting and the children.
Yeah, for sure, such a big deal. And I'm part of the WOW project. I don't know if you know about the Web of Wellbeing project that's being run by One Solution 3PCGE. I always get that mixed up. So I've been going into schools, into my son's school, and teaching 8 and 9-year-olds about this, and it's just astounding what they pick up and what they already know, and what lands with them. It's like, you know, I've got some feedback, and I was like, wow, they really got that from the first lesson and stuff. So it's the whole parents and kids thing that I want to make my sort of niche, if you like, or just sort of share amongst that community, really. And so I'm just going to see where that goes.
Yeah, well, do it, definitely. Do it.
Invite you along as a speaker.
Please do. I would absolutely love to. And I think that's great too, because I do talks in the library. I mean, I don't know how far away from Barnstable you are.
I'm in Penzance.
Yeah, that is a little way. But I mean, you know, come and stay.
Not from anywhere.
Yeah, well, I feel a little bit like that being here. You know, I feel like I'm miles away from anywhere. So in North Devon.
It's just a train ride. Didn't I stop in Penzance, I think, on my way?
No, because
the train was going to Penzance. If you'd have gone further, you would have got to Penzance. But I mean, Jill was in London, and I was kind of saying, are you sure you want to come and stay with me? Do you know how far from London I am? Yeah, I'm coming. I'm getting on a train. I'm coming. So, you know, it is just a train ride away. Let you know, I think
Penzance is the end of the line. It really is. You can't go.
Yeah, we used to go on holiday we went on holiday every year when we were kids to the Isles of Scilly, and we went from Penzance every time. So we used to drive from Coventry to Penzance. So I have been there lots of times.
Long way. But it's it's also about getting it out across the southwest more as well, I think, and bringing, because I am down here right on the ends of the earth, so the more we can create events in this little area of the country is just brilliant, I think.
Well, I would absolutely love, my kind of dream, the lady that I was speaking to yesterday, my dream is to do, I've got quite a lot of connections in the Midlands, and it made sense for me to do this 2-day event that I'm doing in the Midlands. But the next one, I want the next one to be in Devon, and I don't intend it to be a one-off. I would absolutely love to do it again. So, I'm definitely looking at doing something down here, which I think it would be great. And very much, interestingly, I know that you are in Penzance. I know that is further down than I am. But one of the things that I think stopped me for a long time was I have this huge story running that I'm way too far away from anybody. I'm way out in the middle of nowhere. Nobody will come here. Nothing will happen here. And that was definitely, that was one of the, a lot of thinking that stopped me doing something. And, but, Penzance, there's lots of people that live near Penzance that don't. One of the things that I've noticed is from here, it's a long way to get to London. And when I first came across the principles, most of the stuff was in London, and it took me a long time. One of the times when I drove up, it took me 9 hours to drive up because of traffic and one thing and another. And so I kind of then got into a place of like, right, I'm going to do local things. And that's how come the library and all that got started, because I wanted to do things here. And it's working, it's good. And like you're saying, you're going into your son's school.
Yeah, and and what I'm excited to see if anything comes of it. If it doesn't, it's all good practice for me sharing it anyway. If it does, right on, that's brilliant. And then it's like, well, how do I get this out into my local community about this understanding? And do I just put on a little event in the village hall and say, come along? And
why not? Try it. Just try, And one of the things that I've noticed is just keep saying, just keep putting it out there any way that you can. And have 2 amazing nieces who just keep telling everybody how amazing you are. As soon as you have impacted somebody, because definitely a huge amount of things that have happened to me have been because of people that I've impacted. And that was, I cannot say, my nieces have been incredible. One of them is on this call here, and I'm looking at her, and she, but they have just been so brilliant about, but they, they were impacted by this. It changed their lives, and then they just started telling people that. And that is huge. So, that if you talk to somebody, if you have an impact on somebody, and I've kind of noticed that's the lady that I spoke to about sponsoring me, she's somebody that I've impacted. We had some conversations and things changed for her. So it's very much like, as you do that, and I'm sure going out into your son's school, and we never ever know, we don't know which conversations have had a massive impact on somebody.
No. Exactly.
Know.
There's this one girl in the class whose mum knows my sister, and I know her, but not like my sister knows her. And she just sent my sister a text last week saying, "Oh my God, your sister's going into school teaching Daisy's class, and you wouldn't believe the difference it's made. She's so much happier," and and it was just amazing, because I had no idea that what I was sharing was having so much of an impact on her. So, and that's just one child. I have,
and that's how it gets out there. This is it. I think if you try and orchestrate it and try and make it, and this is the whole, just be you, just dare to be who, if something occurs to you, just do it. Just connect to that and do it.
It's talking about the whole blogging thing as well, and I'm just like, I'm kind of on the edge, and I really want to push myself over. But I'm like, well, what do I write about, and how do I write it, and what if, like Pam was saying, what if nobody reads it, and what if it's rubbish? And then I start comparing myself to people who write really good blogs, like Jill. And it's like, just stop it. Stop with this thinking and just do it.
And the thing is, doing it, when you do something, you get better at it. I mean, when, you know, definitely Beck, my niece who's on this, she will agree with me here. You know, some of the first times that I actually stood up and gave a talk about this, I couldn't talk about it. I was rubbish. I was hopeless. You know, I was all kind of, well, it's this amazing thing. And it's just a case of, do you know what? I want to do this, so I'm going to just keep trying.
Bumble my way through it in the best way I know how.
Yeah.
But it's because it's trying to describe the indescribable in a way. Yeah. So how can you put words to it in a way that people, or articulate it so that people understand it? It's quite.
And then I think, one of the things that made sense to me there was when we connect to our heart, what is on our side is we're telling the truth. We're connecting to a truth. And that's kind of like a magic that we have got. You know, if you have seen something and you just share something from your heart that you have seen, like you said about you want to do this around parenting and children, and you know, you haven't shared exactly. Obviously, you've had some kind of shift around that. And if you just know that, you don't even necessarily, if you just share from that knowing within your heart, that impacts people. It's not in the words. That is where the impact is.
Also, it's a learning curve. You know, the more you talk about it, the more you get better at it, and the more you find the words. Exactly. I mean, and like with Deborah, when we first started talking, maybe has it been a year? Maybe I don't even know if it's been probably a year, maybe not. I mean, you were just starting to do this stuff, and you just decided you were going to have some meetups, and what you did that really worked was you were consistent. I think you just consistently did the meetings, whether or not someone showed up, like you said, and. You know, look how much it's grown in just that short period of time. Just you've changed so much just since you and I started talking less than a year ago. And that can happen for anyone.
And I think, I mean, that is it. Just dare to do it. And if you want to get back past that first, dare to do it. You know, just press that button. And first of all, you know, if you're going to write a blog, first of all, just write it. I mean, when I do all of my emails and all of my news, anything that I put out, I do it in a Word document as if I'm going to write it to, I do it just for myself, or I pick somebody in particular and think, well, I'm writing this to Beck, or I'm writing this to Lucy, or I'm writing this to Jill or something. And then I just do that. And then I put it in, you know, because then I can just write from my heart, and I can just write what's making sense to me at that moment. And then I just kind of stick my fingers in my ears, do the next bit quick, and press go.
But you know what? That's what you're supposed to do. Like, that's the marketing advice to people is when you're like copywriting is to think of one person that you're writing to and write to them. Like, so you're just naturally doing it. That's, you know, that's exactly it, because that's what you want to do. You want that way it'll speak to that person who's reading it, because they're that person too, you know. It's the same thing.
We're all that person. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think also it's because I'm a marketer myself, so it's kind of that element of it's got to look right, it's got to be branded right, it's got to be perfect so that it lands properly. So I've just got to get that marketing bit out of my head a little bit and just write on a different level, I think.
Yeah, we close ourselves down so much by it's got to be this, you know, this whole people pleasing, this whole version of it's got to be this, or it's got to be, you know. And there were so many things that I wouldn't do because I didn't think that I would do it well enough. And now I'm just kind of like, well, do you know what? Just keep going out there, just keep going out there, just keep going out there, and you do get better. I hope. It's true, Beck.
It's like anything, isn't it?
If you do it often enough, you get better, you know.
Yeah.
I'm quite confident on here tonight. I'm quite confident talking out. You know, there would have been a time when I wouldn't have been confident. But you just do it, and the confidence, it's like it's the other way around, isn't it? It's like, you don't sit at home and get confident and then do something. You do something and then you find, I mean, the confidence is always, but you find it when you do it, don't you?
Yeah, it's not, it's like if you wait till you're ready, you'll always be waiting to do it.
And because the thinking about it is worse than the actual doing of it usually. If you're worried about something that, you know, and then you do it and you're like, oh, that wasn't even that was no big deal.
What was I worried about? Yeah. Cool. All right.
Thank you.
Well, we've been on here about an hour, I think, Deb, so I can give one more call out there if anyone else would like to say anything. Anybody? Beck, I guess, is the only one left who, or Julie, who doesn't have a picture. Anyone? I think if not, we'll just close it up here. And yeah, so I don't know. Do you have any parting words or anything? I'm just looking for put it back.
Well, I really enjoyed that. That was really good, and some really good you know, comments and what have you going on there. And I know we haven't actually kind of hardly met. You did mention your book, but your book is awesome. I love your book. It's brilliant. So
thank you. And it's called Victim of Thought: Seeing Through the Illusion of Anxiety. So it's specifically for people with anxiety, but even that, it's not necessarily, you know, I think more people have anxiety than they realize that, you know, like even if you think you don't have anxiety, you could get something out of the book. And so far the reviews have been good. So it's available on Amazon for digital download, Kindle and etc. If anyone wants it.
So
all right. Well, it was good to talk to you and see everybody. And I will get hopefully this recording up soon.
yeah.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.